this morning, with rising tensions in the Middle East, Iran putting on a show of force, sending a warship to the Red Sea, according to Iranian state media reports, and its foreign minister meeting with a senior Houthi spokesperson in Tehran Monday. This just hours after U.S. forces responded to a distress call from a shipping vessel attacked by Houthi rebels in the Red Sea.
Iran has dispatched one of its warships to the Red Sea following yet another skirmish between the United States, the US Navy in particular, which destroyed 3 Houthi boats and killed 10 Houthi rebels. Now, Iran-backed Houthi rebels have been retaliating against the United States and Israel over the slaughter of Palestinian civilians in the Gaza Strip. To give you some more details about how Iran has responded and retaliated, the Al-Borz destroyer traversed the Bab al-Mandeb Strait, a narrow choke point between the Red Sea and the Gulf of Aden on Monday. The move could be seen as a challenge to the US-led maritime task force established last month to halt attacks on ships by the Tehran-backed Houthi rebels. A Houthi delegation met with officials in Tehran after the US killed several members of the militant group during an attack on a Danish-owned container ship. AP Moller Maersk AS suspended all Red Sea transit for 48 hours to assess the situation. In fact, here is some more information on the attack on this, this basically this ship and how the United States responded to that attack. Let's watch.
The US military for the first time saying it killed Iran-backed Houthi rebels from Yemen. Those rebels attacking and attempting to board the Maersk Hangzhou cargo ship in the Red Sea, the ongoing maritime conflict linked to the Israel-Hamas war. The latest skirmish starting Saturday night local time, US Central Command saying 2 anti-ship ballistic missiles were fired at the Hangzhou from areas controlled by Houthis. Those missiles shot down by the destroyer USS Gravely. Hours later, Houthi attackers in 4 boats firing upon Navy helicopters from the USS Eisenhower, responding to a distress call from the Hangzhou. Those helicopters sinking 3 of the boats, killing 10 Houthi members, according to the Yemeni armed forces. The 4th boat escaping. The Houthis in Yemen blamed for nearly 24 attacks on international vessels in the Red Sea region in the past 6 weeks.
So now you have the US military in direct military conflict with the Houthi rebels, shooting them down, killing their militants, which of course has led to this escalation of Iran sending its warship to the Red Sea. Now some see this as a deterrent, others see it as an escalation of war between the potential hot war between the United States and Iran. Cenk.
Yeah, so look, there's a couple of disastrous angles here. Number one, the war is spreading like crazy. Now there's been strikes in Lebanon and in Syria by Israel. So now the Houthis are attacking in the Red Sea, we're counterattacking. So now we've drawn in a lot of different actors into this move, into this war. And now Netanyahu has publicly stated that he wants to. He wants to bring in other people into the war. He never wants to give the Palestinians a state. He brags about it, and he has tried to get us, the United States, into a war with Iran for at least a decade now. All this is very public. And again brags about it, right? So look, I understand what the Houthis are doing. They're saying, okay, you're killing 22,000 Palestinians there with your military might. This is my tiny amount of military might, but it could cause some damage in the Red Sea. And so I'm doing what I can to help my Palestinian brothers and sisters. Are we supposed to be mad? Are we supposed to be like, oh, I can't believe they caused economic harm to Israel and maybe some other countries? Crude prices, when the attacks first began, jumped 2%. Do you know what the name of this operation is for America, where we're going and sinking the Houthis and attacking them, etc.? It's called Operation Prosperity Guardian. So they're not being subtle about it. Basically, they're saying this particular part of the conflict in the Red Sea is about guarding our prosperity. So whether it's America, Denmark, Israel that's affected, they say, we'll kill you guys if you mess with our prosperity, even by 2% on just one commodity, we'll kill you. Now, but at the same time, it's fair, the Houthis are attacking the ships. If you don't want to get counterattacked, don't attack the ships, right? So the Houthis don't get to complain, but I think we don't get to complain either. And so-
Well, the Houthis weren't attacking cargo ships in the Red Sea or in that strait until something very specific happened. So what we hear from Israel over and over again is that they have no choice but to bomb the hospitals because in their words, Hamas is using those poor Palestinians as human shields. Okay, well, the Houthis are now looking at Israel and they're saying, well, we'll stop attacking cargo ships and we'll stop disrupting trade in this area if Israel stops slaughtering Palestinian civilians. But Israel's not willing to stop slaughtering Palestinian civilians. Israel wants to continue slaughtering Palestinian civilians. And as a result, that is leading to an escalation of activity by Iran-backed militants, including the Houthi rebels in the Strait, in the Red Sea.
Yeah, so all that is absolutely true. And so, Houthis can turn it around and go, we have a right to defend the Palestinians. Literally no one else is. And we're not doing it by attacking civilians. We're not doing it by trying to murder people inside Israel. We're doing it by affecting trade. It's mainly an economic. There's some civilians involved. They captured one ship and then they bombed. They tried to bomb 100 different times from drones, missiles, etc. Well, I'm not downplaying what they're doing in terms of the potential for civilian casualties, and I hate the idea of any civilian casualties. But it is, my point is, it's mainly an economic effort to hurt Israel.
It is,
and so just to finish the thought. We're saying everything is terrorism. That's terrorism. The other thing is terrorism. Everything. If you try to defend the Palestinians in any way, shape, or form, it is all by definition terrorism, and we will kill you for it, right? And so, but the problem is, among the moral problems and all the other problems that we've explained, now Iran brings their destroyer into the Red Sea. If Iran and America get into a battle with actual warships, now this thing spirals out of control. And show me the part where it's American interests.
That's where I wanted to get to, Cenk. Because you mentioned, what they're naming the international convoy that's basically trying to prevent any disruption to trade as a result of this activity by the Houthi rebels. But rather than responding militarily, the United States had another option. And the other option was, hey, maybe rein in the slaughter of innocent civilians in the Gaza Strip. And maybe the weapons we provide to you are conditional. Maybe we're gonna stop providing you 2,000-pound bombs if you refuse to stop engaging in indiscriminate bombing, aerial bombardments of the Gaza Strip. But the US wasn't willing to do that, were they?
No, in fact, as we're about to tell you, we are sending new money to Israel, and Biden is doing it without congressional approval because apparently
bypassing Congress completely.
Apparently, everything is possible as long as it helps war in Israel.
Exactly.
Like when it comes to you guys, I'm sorry, there's nothing we could do.
Legislative filibuster.
Oh, the parliamentarian.
Sorry, we couldn't get you guys paid family leave. We couldn't get you guys any assistance if you have no choice but to miss work to take care of your elderly parents.
Lower drug prices. Sorry, we couldn't. There's nothing we could do.
There's
nothing we can do.
Sorry.
But Israel needs more money to slaughter more Palestinians right away. Right away. $147.5 million circumventing Congress. That is on top of another $106 million that he did earlier, which circumvented Congress. All of a sudden, there's everything you could do. All of a sudden, you don't need Congress at all, let alone the parliamentarian or the filibuster. Who cares? The president can do anything they like as long as the money is spent on defense contractors. Then everything is kosher. Money spent on you guys, never. What do you think? This is a democracy?
Now, oil prices, as Cenk alluded to earlier, have jumped up in recent days as a result of the disruption of trade activity in this area. Let's go to graphic 5 here. Global crude benchmark Brent jumped 2.5% to $78.97 a barrel, while the US West Texas Intermediate gained 2.5% to $73.43 per barrel during Asia trading hours. I note that because this has to do with the price of oil, which of course is going to impact prices at the gas pump. Major shipping companies stopped traversing the Suez Canal and Red Sea routes in early December, choosing to reroute via Southern Africa instead, which of course is a longer and more expensive journey, with ocean freight rates hitting as high as $10,000 per container. And so the economic interest here for the United States and the international community is very real. The only difference is you have the United States providing cover for what Israel is doing, while pretending like they're trying to get Israel to rein in the war and engage in more targeted assaults and attacks of the Gaza Strip. Netanyahu is drawing troops out of the Gaza Strip, but you should not mistake that as a wind down of this war. They're just gonna move toward complete aerial bombardments, which I'll give you details of in just a second. But again, I mean, there were other options here for the United States rather than pressuring Israel to engage in targeted attacks of Hamas. The Biden administration has done nothing but provide cover for them while sending our soldiers and our military to the region to serve as a deterrent, but clearly that hasn't worked. And the Houthi-backed rebels say that they will continue their attacks as long as Israel continues killing civilians in the Gaza Strip.
Last thing I'll say is I don't want to go to war with Yemen or Iran or Lebanon or Syria because Netanyahu wants us to, or has ordered us to, or whatever it is, whatever phrasing makes you feel comfortable about it. But it's obvious that Netanyahu is driving this ship, if you will, and he's saying, I want further conflict with these countries. And the US, you must send me money to do it, and you must also send your own military to potentially fight a bigger opponent like Iran, and certainly the smaller opponents like Yemen, etc. It's your job to fight for me. Right. No, it isn't. It isn't. I'm sorry if it makes you feel uncomfortable, but it is a different country, Israel is. It has done almost nothing for us except create massive, massive trouble to the tune of, if you care about money and guarding prosperity, to the tune of billions, maybe trillions of dollars over the course of these conflicts.
Right.
Because no, they have to keep the occupation. The Palestinians cannot be trusted to govern themselves. They're animals that must be oppressed for the rest of time. So you have to be my ally in fighting all these wars for me and oppressing these people. What the hell do we get out of it? I'm sorry, we have to ask the question. What do we get out of it? Nothing, nothing. So if that hurts your feelings, that's kind of on you and not on me. So please, let's look after our own interests, and our interest is not to get in a giant war in the Middle East so that another country can oppress other people.
Thanks for watching. If you become a member, you get to watch all this ad-free, except for, of course, this ad. Still, hit the join button below.